Hello, Steve White, Steve Arts 89. Well, I got the new line of Fraggle figures. Now, these were released along with the Back to the Rock series, and I saw them all about a month ago, and I was kind of excited until I realised they've only done 4 in the first wave. They haven't done all 5 figures. They've left out Booba, which makes no sense. Normally Moki gets left out. But because this Moki is actually different, the Moki from the series now has her hair up and she's got a dress with a necklace instead of the sort of cloak that she had before. I was kind of excited. I wanted to get the new Moki. And I didn't want to go through the same experience I had with the other Fraggles, where I was chasing the figures for years trying to find a matching set, and in some cases they didn't do complete, sets where they'd release like all the main characters except Moki and then not do a second wave, and then you never got Moki. So sometimes you'd have to combine different sets from different companies to get a full set of characters, and it was a bit of a nightmare. I thought, I'm not going through that again. I'm not going to chase these figures separately for more money and separate postage later, so I just bought the whole 4 together from one seller, saved a bunch in postage, and it was great. They all arrived at the same time. I bathed them because I have a bit of a germaphobe now, and anything coming into my house gets wiped down, which is easy with some things, but not with plushies, because they're not really supposed to be washed. But I washed them and they survived, and they're quite interesting. They're a lot smaller than they look because they're kind of thick. The way they're built, they're kind of stocky Fraggles with short legs. So, but they're actually a little shorter than the ones with the longer legs. So you don't really make up with volume. But they still feel more like teddy bears. They've got like a fullness to them. I don't know. I kind of like them. Now they've gone into a lot of work with the shaping of the characters. There's a lot of stitch lines and seams and that to try and get the shape of the faces and everything, and they've gone into a lot of detail. But some of it, like with Moki, is disappointing because it's basically printed on the dress, like the necklace. Instead of having an actual necklace or just leaving the necklace out, they've printed it on the dress. So I would much rather them just have left that just a plain dress, and I could have made a necklace for her. But aside from that, I'm quite happy, mostly because they've got plastic eyes, unlike the last line of figures. Can't remember what company they were from, but they had material eyes, which I'm guessing was because some parent complained because some kid probably threw a Fraggle at one of their other brothers and sisters and the eyes hit them or something because they're hard. So yeah, but they're really nicely molded and detailed with the eyelids and the it's really well done. I think they might be a little small proportionally, but the detail's nice. Like Gobo and Moki both have the same molded eyes, and Red and Wembley have the same molded eyes, and the detail in their mouths, the tongues and that's all printed on to the material. And some of the clothes are removable, like Gobo's little I don't know what you call that, vest is removable, and his little scarf would be too. It's sewn on, but you can always remove it if you want. And Wembley's little top, actually, it is removable, but it's actually sewn on. But I actually, I took it off, and wow, I can't get this undone with one finger, with one hand. I sewed on some buttons, so you can actually, well, not with one hand, you can undo it. And I sewed them, where the buttons are supposed to be, where they've got little embroidered, implied buttons. I've got little press studs underneath, so you can actually take it off if you've got 2 hands free, if you're not filming it. Whereas Red, Red's dress is interesting. It's totally sewn on, so it doesn't come off. The sleeves are her arms, and the top half of her body is the dress. But it's this really rough sort of material, kind of like a washcloth. It's not fur or regular felt or cotton, and it's a bit odd. And Moki, sort of similar thing. Her sleeves are her arms. the dress does lift up, and the tail actually comes through the back of the dress, and you can have it under or over, so that's kind of cool. But it would have been nicer if the clothes could come all the way off, like some of the other ones actually do that. But the weirdest thing about these, I guess, aside from the fact that they're kind of thick and stocky, particularly Red, she's the thickest out of all of them. She's, if you look at the size of her body versus Gobo and Wembley and that, she's the biggest one. But instead of fur, they've got this material with this sort of short, sort of furry sort of hair, and they've actually sculpted, you know, the shape of the hair, and it's just like it's got a little bit of length to it. So that whole part there, it's not just fur off the back of her head. The whole thing is like a sculpted, stitched shape. And the same thing with Red's hair. Like these are little square pillow-shaped tufts of hair on the end of her pigtails, not just hair flowing from it. And same with these guys, the backs of their heads, it's like a sewn section of material. But it's basically just the shape of their head, doesn't really create its own shape. And the tails are the same, it's like a little square of the material here, which you can see the edge of it there. But I'm pretty happy with these. Like, they're a nice little set. I'm praying they do booba and we don't end up with, you know, an incomplete set, because, you know, it's happened before. But just a little comparison between the others. Here's the Wembley from the other more recent line. As you can see, the legs are longer, skinnier, probably more accurate for the actual, you know, build of a Fraggle. Whereas these ones are kind of, you know, stubbier. But I like the colour here, the yellow hair with the green, more green material. It feels more like the animated, the colouring for the animated Wembley and the comic Wembley. But yeah, so these ones, like, this is an altered one. The eyes are really far apart, the material, I didn't really like them. The head, the whole back of the head is just made out of fur. Instead of fur stuck on the back of the head like a tuft of hair, it's like the whole back of the head is like just made out of fur. So it was a bit much. I had to trim it all down and make it look make it look more like Wembley. But in the end, I bought him just for the vest, because my other Wembley, which I think is the most accurate so far as the look of the Fraggles, this line was I think the more accurate one. As you can see by the shape of the head and everything, from these ones aren't quite right. And this Wembley's nose is nowhere near long enough. So they've gone to a lot of detail with all the stitching, but they still haven't got the shape of his face and the shape of his head right. But this one was way off as well. This one is quite accurate, but it's the smallest out of all of them. Scale-wise, it you know, it's got shorter legs and it's smaller, but it looks the most accurate. And the larger scale, because these were done on the larger scale as well, and they're like the best ones. But I bought this one for the vest shirt because I lost his shirt. I took it off and put it in a bag with Gobo's vest and accidentally threw it out. So he had no, you know, shirt. So I bought this one to put the shirt on this one. So this one was complete, and I thought this one would just be like a generic Fraggle because he looks different. He doesn't look exactly like them, so it looks like he's just he's a cousin or something of Wembley. So I got that. And I also got the Moki because, wow, it doesn't really look like Moki. It looks like an old man with like grey hair. And she didn't have her cloak, so I thought, you know what, I'm going to rescue this from the same person who had the two of them. And I thought, this is just going to be like a generic old man Fraggle. And I'm just going to end up having just odd random Fraggles. But since this video is dragging on to 10 minutes, I may as well do a comparison between the Fraggles. So these ones, for example, like, as you can see the difference between the size, the length of the legs, the build basically that they've got is different. But these ones look more accurate to the actual Fraggles, but they're a little smaller. These ones feel a little fuller. Yeah, so they're different. I don't mind the difference. It'd be nice to have one definitive range of Fraggles that look exactly like the figures. Hasbro's probably the closest, and probably these second. The bigger versions of these are probably the best ones. Which there's a little comparison size-wise. These are probably the best ones, I think, accuracy-wise. And then these ones are the smaller scale, which are as accurate. And then we get these newer ones, which, I don't know, they've got more of a teddy bear feel. But as you can see, like red is really big compared to the other one. Like, even with the longer legs, she's about the same size, lengthwise, but, you know, she feels so much bigger. But this still looks more accurate. And the dress comes totally off. So, yeah. And last, of course, Moki doesn't have one in that range, which is the problem, which is why I originally was going to buy this one. I'm probably going to buy one of this with the actual cloak and maybe change the hair. But so I'm just going to add booba because there is no booba. But hopefully we will eventually get a booba in this line and a travelling mat, and they'll be complete.